Peace and greetings to everyone who has taken the time to tune in to my second episode of Sheppard's Indoctrination. I'm going to try to disseminate some information to you that you feel is interesting and informative. I kind of want to make this like a homey type of vibe with you, and so I'm not going to be speaking in corporate terms. I'm going to speak in street terms. The thing I want to talk about today is how, in my opinion, hip-hop culture is being destroyed by artists that are being marketed worldwide by the major labels. It's a major problem. You see, there are so many murders and shootings that are going on in hip-hop that it's become so destructive that you are waiting for the next rapper to drop. And it's sickening, to tell you the truth. We call it in the music industry Black Death music. It's kind of simple to see why we call it that. It's the only genre of music that promotes ignorance to its highest level, and it promotes death at its highest level, even down to the point where young rap artists are now smoking or talking about smoking the ashes of young people who have been killed that are called, quote unquote, their ops. And it's getting quite ridiculous, to tell you the truth. And what's happening is that the major record companies have been promoting this type of music for over 15 years, and they've been pocketing billions of dollars. But what's so weird about this whole situation is that the money that these major companies are making from Black Death music is being funneled into different genres of music that don't promote this ignorance. Now, what does that mean? That means every department at a major record company has a limited budget of what they can and cannot do as far as signings are concerned. So therefore, they're going to be in a situation where they are looking to wean themselves off of Black Death music because of all the negatives that are coming with it. Now, don't get me wrong. They're still going to push artists that have remnants of these lyrics in their music, but you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to slowly start to pull away from this, and it's going to limit the opportunities for different artists to break into the game. It's a very, very tricky situation right now, and you got to be very careful of what you're doing as far as artists are concerned, as far as starting a rap record company is concerned. The cost factor of doing a release is astronomical these days. That's if you want the potential of a hit record. Right now, I would say that to get a hit single globally, to get a hit single globally, it would take you between $250,000 and $300,000 to do it right. If not, you got a rough time to go. And it takes months to set up a hit record. The only hits that are done overnight are the dance type records that we call one-offs that you see on TikTok, and they're a dance record and then the artist disappears. But when you're trying to establish a mainstream artist, it takes a coordinated effort from a team. And if you don't have a team, you're at a distinct disadvantage. Now, what type of team do you need? Number one, you need to find a promotion and marketing company that has some history working with established artists and new and developing artists. You also need a publicist, a good publicist, not one who is just starting off and trying to get some coverage on what you do. Also, you're going to need a good attorney to watch over whatever contracts that you sign, because basically you're signing your life away as far as your financial freedom is concerned when you do a deal with the majors these days, from the 360 deals on down. The next issue I wanted to talk about was spending your money in the wrong places trying to get a hit record. Most companies and artists who are starting off, they want to impact the whole country with their music. They have visions of grandeur that are unrealistic. They don't know the rules of the game, and they're not going to get their records added at radio unless there's a marketing and promotion person who is handling those duties. The days of taking new records into a music director or a mix show person, that's over. There are too many controls right now because of the Payola issue. And for those of you who don't know what Payola is, it's paying people at radio stations to play your record when it's really not called for, because there's no sales data or accompanying radio play in other cities. Now, let me also explain to you how the major labels are not that intelligent. Let me explain why. I'm going to give you an example. Say you have a production company and you have an artist that you want to market, and you come to the major label, and the major label has some great interest in you. Okay. Just say they give you a budget of $1 million, and they tell you, I want you to bring me 10 albums, 100,000 per album to make it. Bring me the 10 albums for the $1 million. Okay. Well, you do that. You bring in the project, all 10 of them, no matter how long it takes you, as long as you deliver the 10. And they put it out, and just say that 9 of the 10 records that you turn in sell 0 copies. But 1 of the albums that you turn in sells 500,000 units and goes gold. Well, in today's marketplace, maybe you can get an album for $6, $7 or whatever. So the bottom line is, you've tripled your money or quadrupled your money with just $1 million that you gave them, and you failed 9 times out of 10. But that one record now makes the major label in the profit zone. It's not that they're smart, it's just they have deep pockets and they can absorb the loss. And by the way, those losses that they're absorbing, they're going to write it off in taxes. So guess who gets screwed up? The artist, as usual. And you say, well, don't the artists know what they're getting into when they come into this business? Absolutely not. 9 out of 10 artists don't know anything about contractual matters. They're not interested in it, and they want someone else to explain it to them. Well, what does that do? That opens up the artist to fraud and theft, because they don't know what they're supposed to get paid, nor when they're supposed to get paid. They're told by everyone. Any contract that an artist signs from a major label will be over 50 pages. I don't know one artist who has ever read 50 pages of a contract. They leave that to the manager. Now, what if the manager doesn't have their best interest at heart? And you say, well, why are they the manager? Well, look at it this way. You're probably, as a new artist, not the only client that these managers have. And if you think for one moment that these managers are going to ruin their relationship with A&R directors at major labels for you, boy, you got a rude awakening coming, because it ain't gonna happen. This is a cutthroat business, and it's very, very difficult to find people who have your best interest at heart as an artist. Very, very hard to do that. So, all of this put together, you say, well, as an artist, how do I make some money from my music? Well, guess what? 9 times out of 10, you're not going to make any money from your music, because it's not moving enough units to generate bankable income. So what does that leave you with? You got to do shows. You got to sell merchandise. That's the way you make your living. You hopefully get a hit single, which can launch you to get some endorsement deals. But waiting for payment for the music that you produced as a single to erase your debt, that's a rough one. It's really not going to happen that many times. So then what happens is artists go into debt. Why do they go into debt? Because they don't understand the tax burden that comes with getting paid. They don't understand that if you earn $1,000, 500 of that is going back to taxes. They all forget that. And then come tax season, they're looking for tax money to pay. But they're financially strapped. So what do? They run back to the major label. Can you please give me an advance? Yeah, we'll give you an advance. Now you're deeper in debt. You've got 2 projects you have to pay back. And you have to pay it back at a low royalty rate. You're lucky if you get 16, 17% from a deal to get paid. Do you know how many records you have to sell to repay your advance? And lo and behold, you want your record promoted, right? Okay. Well, guess what's going to happen? They're going to hire one of the best if they want you to win. And then you're going to have to pay back what they pay, usually 50%, if you're lucky, of everything that's been put out as far as marketing and promotion is concerned. And it's a structured situation. Let me share something with you. When I was managing DJ Quick, we were getting ready to put out our album, and our deal was with Arista Records in New York. And Mr. Clive Davis is the one that I negotiated the deal with for over 3 weeks, where they interviewed DJ Quick, they interviewed me, they wanted to know everything about this situation. We concluded the deal. We had a very successful album, and everything was going fine until I asked Mr. Davis for extra money to promote DJ Quick in markets where he had not been promoted in before. Well, guess what I was told? Now, this is going to seem like a trip. Clive Davis told me that, Stan, DJ Quick is a platinum artist, and we know that, and that's why we did the deal with you, but DJ Quick's music is not played east of the Mississippi River. The people love him, but the radio stations won't play his music on the East Coast or on the Eastern Seaboard. I said, you can't give me any money. I mean, I have my own relationships at radio. He says, well, if you have your own relationships at radio, you can pay for it. I said, well, damn, okay, that's a cold-blooded game. But that's the way things are looked at. West Coast rappers do not have acceptance east of the Mississippi River. It just doesn't happen like that. West Coast artists get some play down south in a few markets. They get some play in the Midwest in a few markets, but nothing in the Eastern Seaboard. Doesn't happen that way. Matter of fact, if you're ever online and you want to do some research, go and look at the music lists that are accompanied from like stations like in Chicago, WGCI 92.3. And you'll see that the only West Coast artist you will see being played is Kendrick Lamar, because he's not pushing gangsterism. He's pushing lyrics that are not gangster-loaded lyrics. Any other West Coast artists, the only ones you hear are oldies from Snoop, but no new artists are getting acceptance. It's a screwed up situation. And also remember this, 95% of all rap albums fail financially. They're usually used as a write-off. And the ones that click, well, they're used as the bait to bring in more artists who get caught in the tax structure and financial doldrums that I just discussed with you earlier. It's a vicious business, and the evil tactics never stop. So I try to let the people know who are contemplating getting into this business how destructive it can be, and how it could really do damage to your mind, and it could damn sure do damage to your pocketbook and wallet if you don't know what you're doing. Now, as far as the hip hop culture is concerned, why is it? I'm just trying to find out. Why is it that 90% of the artists want to talk about killing and moving drugs? Most of y'all are lying anyway. The lying needs to stop. Even gangsters are tired of the lying that goes on. It's got to make a point where, got to come to a point where realism has to come into play somewhere. You understand what I'm talking about? You just can't talk about, oh, I'm moving keys, I'm the baddest gangbanger in the country. Man, don't nobody want to hear that. Gangsters don't want to hear it. And let me ask you a question. For those of you that like gangster music, what's the last single you bought? I bet you it ain't many. I bet you all you do is listen to it when you want to listen to it. You're not spending your dollars on it. You're going to go somewhere else. And it shows in the sales figures. So what are you doing? You're limiting your chances for success by not giving the people what they want, musically speaking. Now, if you just want to do what you want, well, go ahead and sing in the shower. You ain't gonna make no money. But if you're trying to go ahead and make some cash, You better watch the lyrics and watch what you're doing artist development wise, or you're going to have trouble. I don't want you to have trouble. Because you're going to, when you get into this business, you're going to meet people like me who have been in this business for over 40 years pushing artists. And we don't want to hear your weak stories. We don't want to hear any excuses. We don't want to hear anything but, do you have money to pay what you want to get done with your record? If not, the powerful people are not going to help you, and your chances for success, oh man, they're so limited. It's a sad situation. And I just really want to arm people with the facts so they have realistic expectations. The next time that I come to discuss issues with you, I'm going to again tell you the best way to go about getting a hit single in this business. And maybe you'll take this information to heart and put it into practice. And that's where I'm going to leave this situation right now. And I'm so glad that you came in to listen to what I was talking about and understanding the drama that you're about to encounter if you want to make a living in the recording industry. I want to wish you peace, prosperity, and love in your life. And until the next time, God bless.